with the Roadie.
Paranormal After Dark, and we are back with the side-eye guy fresh from his trip to the United States. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, good. And now, what happened? Like, I've watched your videos in the States, and there's some questions I have. Mm-hmm. Now, how, like, when you watch, I watch a lot of your videos with other American teams and stuff, and it seems to me, tell me if I'm wrong, but this is what I kind of get the impression. Seems to me that a lot of the American investigators kind of have the Zach Baggins kind of way of looking at things, and everything's a ghost. Is that your impression from over there?
I think a lot of them act very differently around me to when they're not around me.
Yeah, cause I just kind of get the impression that everything's a ghost, and it's when you watch the UK teams, they're a lot more easy to debunk things, whereas the Americans, pretty much everything's a ghost, or there's been a ghost, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's some teams that when I was with Paranormal Quest, they're very good at debunking their own. I've done a video where they've done that, I've seen them do that they're very good at debunking their own claims, or not claims, but happenings in the video. So there are some teams in America that can do it, but yes, for sure, there's a lot. I mean, to be fair, there's UK teams that are guilty of saying everything's a ghost. Cough, cough, ghost theory, cough, cough. There are teams in the UK that are guilty of this also. But yeah, I do know what you mean. And I know what you mean also with like that whole Zach Bagans type mentality when it comes to ghost hunting, where everything's a ghost. Yeah, even the most logical, sometimes even the most logical kind of explanation is still ghostly. Funny enough, I just finished a video, another Ghost Adventures video, and at one point Aaron walks into a spider web, and then he literally says, "I've just walked into a spider web," and then Zach tries to claim that this could be a ghost slapping Aaron, and I'm like, how can you say that with a straight face? How can you have no shame to say that on camera and it not be a joke? It blows my mind.
You're exactly right. It's kind of like the starting point is it's a ghost, then let's work backwards. Whereas I know the New Zealand teams that I've gone out with here, like Paranormal New Zealand, they start with, okay, what's a logical explanation for it? Then work to a ghost, like many of the UK teams. So it's kind of like
I actually think some of it is, let's say it's a ghost and it stops there. There's no working backwards even. It's
true.
It stops at that moment. It's a ghost.
That's
and then
true.
If there's any kind of further investigating to that, it's trying to further cement their theory or hypothesis that it is a ghost, rather than looking at it must be a ghost, and that's where it stops.
That's kind of the impression I get. Although I will say, from the videos that you did, not a lot of the teams, like you say, when they were with you, were 100% that way. Although I kind of got the impression that one or two of them might have been if you weren't around.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
So now, tell me, you went to some of these towns out west there, and there was all these legends and stories, and that's really cool that these buildings have legends and stories and that. But was there anything to them? I mean, did you actually hear anything? And when I say hear or see anything, and when I say did you hear or see anything, did you, not so much was it a spirit or a ghost, but did you hear or see anything that you could have thought, oh, this is why they think it's a ghost, or was it just nothing there and people were imagining things?
For me, whenever I hear a creak or a knock, even some bangs, I do just assume it's an old building. A lot of the time, they haven't been very well maintained, and it's been subsequent from the elements, just weather from the elements. So, for instance, when I went to Goldfield Hotel, not only is it an old building, but there's a lot of construction going on. When I was there, of course, all the construction workers were not there, but they've been doing a lot of work on the infrastructure of that building. There's some of the building that's just unfinished. They started construction and then they run out of funds and they just so it remained abandoned. Not to mention, you know, you're out kind of in the middle of the desert. God knows what kind of wildlife could make their way into these buildings. They're the first thing that comes to my mind. I will say, of all the things, on the top of my head anyway, because I went to 10 places. There's a lot of places I went to. The only noise or thing that really happened that, I'm not saying I don't have an explanation, I think I might do, but it did really catch me off guard, was when I went, as mentioned earlier, Paranormal Quest, to the Washoe Club, and there was a scream. And it was a scream. It was like, there's no doubt about it, it was a scream. So, for a little extra context here, the Washoe Club is kind of in the middle of Virginia City. Even though it's called Virginia City, it's really just a very small mountain town kind of thing. I would even say calling it a town might be a bit of a leap. It's more of like, in the UK, we would consider that like a village. But it is very touristy. A lot of people go because it's like got a lot of historical relevance, and there's a lot of ghost claims there. There's a lot of ghost claims in Virginia City. There's kind of like a bit of a paranormal hub. If you're a YouTuber, it's a great place to go to because you've got like 5 places all within walking distance with each other to film content for. So
I heard that one. I heard that scream.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It was a scream. But the context of it is you're in a hotel. It's at night. Could it have been a woman outside?
Not only at night. So we're surrounded by people who live and work there. Now 2 a.m. But I personally not so sure. It sounded like a scream. So it could have been a scream. Paranormal Quest do a very good job of enhancing the audio so you can really hear what Dave and I heard in that moment. In my video, I'm not obviously saying, I'm just saying this is what I believe it is. I'm not saying definitively this is what it is, but I think it was a mountain lion scream. Now, I played recordings of mountain lions roaring, and they do they vary, a lot of them, but there's some I found that kind of do sound like a woman screaming. Not to mention foxes. In London, we have a big feral fox problem. And when they're mating or fighting, it sounds like a woman being attacked. It's actually really quite horrible to hear foxes. So I did some Googling around there. And yes, they're rare, but mountain lions are known to be in the area. There is a fox in Nevada that I don't think they're so well known in that area. I think they're a little bit further south of that area, but not impossible. Put it this way, I would argue that as rare as mountain lions are, that they're more common than a ghost. That's just my opinion. However, what I did find interesting when I kind of looked into this further is a friend of mine, Joe Vitale. He was at the Washoe Club, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, and they heard a scream. Unfortunately, what they were recording on was like a phone, and it's truly terrible audio and camera quality, so you can't really hear what they hear, but they claim to hear a scream. And then weirdly enough, many years ago, when Zach Bagans went there off Ghost Adventures, you know, when the video I covered where it was their documentary rather than the TV show, they also heard a scream. So I wouldn't rule out that people are pranking. Over a long period of time, people have been pranking. Like people who make videos in the Washoe Club. It won't happen every single time. There's plenty of people. The Washoe Club's a very, very famous, well-known location where people go all the time. So there's many videos where people don't hear the scream. But I wouldn't rule it out anyway, that it could be that somebody, or there's like a house nearby and they just think 2 a.m, that'd be a fun little prank to play on the people filming a video and ghost hunting in these haunted locations.
Well, put it this way, if I was living next door and I knew you were in there filming, I'd probably do the same.
Yeah, especially if exactly. Teenage side-eye guy would want 100. Even now, side-eye guy would probably do that, but definitely a younger side-eye guy.
Exactly.
Would think that's the best thing ever to do.
And the animal thing you're bringing up too, that's quite logical in a place like that. where there's a lot of wildlife. I mean, you don't really know what. I mean, it could have been a coyote. We don't really. Some animals make odd noises, right?
You are in the middle of the mountain.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
in the middle of. Like, there's not a lot else around Virginia City for a huge radius, many miles away. Like, the closest other settlements I could think of is probably Reno, which is like a 45-minute drive away.
Yep. So look, what do you make of all these people, including some of the teams who invariably always say they saw something or they heard something? I mean, are they genuine? Have they genuinely seen something and heard something, or is this just making it up for attention? I mean, honestly,
that's the question, isn't it? My thing is that there's an argument to be made that if you want something bad enough, you'll get it, because your mind will just look for that thing so badly that it will find it no matter what. There's an argument to be made that, it's funny if you're a professional paranormal, ghost hunting YouTuber, and you get sizable activity, like you get like a lot of activity literally week in, week out in every single video, questions have to be asked. Where I'm just like, I did 10 videos over some very, very, very famous, well-known, highly regarded paranormal hotspots. Not really, ultimately, like, as completely unexplainable, nothing happened. There's a few odd things that happened. I'll give you that. There's a few odd things, few noises that happened, a few bangs that gave me a bit of a fright. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, nothing fazed me whatsoever, but like, on hindsight, looking back on it, I think everything can be explained. So if I can do that, and I can rationalize that, surely they can as well. But then I'm ultimately coming this from a very skeptical point of view, and other people are coming at this from a believer's point of view. So that is a very important distinction to make.
Well, see, I'm kind of like a fox molder. I want to believe, right? But the thing that I really struggle with, and it happens, not just in the States, but the UK teams, wherever, they'll go somewhere, and not necessarily the teams, but they'll go somewhere, and like, some guys are really good at giving the history of the place, and they'll say, a lady's been seen in this prison and all this sort of shit. Now, if people are seeing things, why the hell are they not manifesting, when the investigators are there? Is it because the spirit world are going, ooh, there's a camera, I'm afraid to manifest, or is it just bollocks? I mean, I struggle with the stories of, like that East Drive in the UK, the most haunted house in the UK, and I've sat there and watched hours and hours of bloody teams in there, and literally nothing, but people claim to have seen monks and all this sort of stuff, and you just think, really? I mean, is there something to it, or is it pranking again, or what's your thoughts on it, really? I mean, looking at it from a logical point of view.
Logical point of view, 30 East Drive is a bit different because it is just a regular-ass townhouse. I would argue that psychology plays a very, very big part of it with the more creepy, well-known place, because a lot of, like, the real creepy places look like you'd expect them to be haunted. And I think that's a very important thing to notice. So when I walk around the Washoe Club, it's creepy. It looks creepy. When I walk around, I've been to a fair few prisons now. They look creepy because they're built to look intimidating and creepy. That's a conscious architectural decision to make them look that way. The Conjuring House is so old. I mean, I personally don't think it's very scary looking, but other people have said that they find the Conjuring House scary just because it's so old and it's, so weathered. They find it, it's all the surfaces are kind of uneven. Nothing's at a straight edge. These are all tells, or at least like psychological aesthetics that make us feel a bit uneasy, to the point where, this is what many people have accused that Vegas of doing in his museum. I and other people have accused my haunted project for doing at their locations. They make everything just a little bit off edge. Nothing is centered properly. They put smells in. That's another thing as well. Smell is a very big thing. And a lot of these old places, they have funky smells. Temperature shifts. Like a really good case study on, I honestly do think, on why a lot of people think places are haunted. You go to Zach Bagans' museum and he manufactures a lot of the things that I think are naturally in known haunted locations. And it's a clear decision to make to affect your psychology, to affect your mood, your senses, and to make you just feel off and unbalanced and not right. I think a lot of locations do exactly that, but like it's not intentional. That's just what they do. It's just how they are.
So, of all the places you visited, right? Let's just put a believer's cap on for a minute. Of all the places you visited over there, if there was one that you really thought was haunted, right? It probably is haunted. Which one would it have been?
This is a hard one. I might have to go with Nevada State Prison. Might have to go. Okay, so I will say this, actually. There is one thing that happened at Nevada State Prison, which I don't know about unexplainable, but it's very, very odd. So when I was, that was the video I was there with Colin of the Paranormal Files. Controversial decision for me to collaborate with Colin. Absolutely. But while we were there, we were like, talking to the walls down a long corridor where people had, where the jail cells were. And we kept hearing this noise. It was like da-dunk, da-dunk, every now and then. And it was consistent. It was probably, we were there for probably like an hour, maybe an hour and let's just call it an hour and a half, probably a bit less, but around an hour and a half. And we probably heard this noise maybe 10 times. And Colin wanted to just move on to the next bit. And I said, well, no, can we go down there and figure out what that noise is? And eventually I found a lever, it's like a little sort of levy system. It's all locked up now because the prison's no longer operational, of course. But so it doesn't go all the way down. It just goes down like a small amount. And the lever was to open up all the jail cell doors at once. You pull that down, and all the jail cell doors open at the exact same time. And then I tested it, and I'm putting it down. It makes this da-dunk, da-dunk noise. Next, like Colin was with me the whole time. There's no way. And I did go down there, and I tried opening, because I didn't fully trust the people who work there, mainly because of they really are, like the people who work at Nevada State Prison, they're really big fans of Colin. So there was a part of me that's like, you know what? Maybe they're going to do something to get a video out of him. They also knew they didn't like me very much, but they knew he told them that he's bringing a skeptic. So I was like, well, maybe they really want something to happen and to kind of prove me wrong, kind of thing. So when I went down that other end there, I looked for any other exit or entry point, and there wasn't anything. There was nothing down there.
I mean, do you think it was someone else? I mean, I often look at some of these teams, and the UK one that you mentioned that I won't mention the name of. I'm convinced they have a third person with them. Now, do you think Colin had someone in there that you didn't know about?
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like if it was a third person, it could only be someone that worked at Nevada State Prison. It wouldn't be like a mate of Colin's, because, I drove there at the same time. Like, I followed Colin. We had a bite to eat before we went to the location. I followed him there. There was nobody else in his car. I know that for a fact. Like, he didn't bring anyone else with him.
Unless he arranged for them to arrive at a different time.
Possibly, but I think that's a little. Logistically, it was quite far away from, because we met up in Reno and then we went down to the Nevada State Prison. That is possible, but then you've got to say that person has to know the layout of the prison very, very well. They would have to be in cahoots with Nevada, the workers, or the tour guides or caretakers, we want to call them, of Nevada State Prison, because there's no way they're just going to let some person wander around the prison at night. We were on the top floor. The only way to get up there is to climb up some very dodgy looking scaffolding, not scaffolding, rail type stairwell, I suppose, outdoor stairwell, which from the ground level is, I saw this, is like locked up. You can't go up there, and for good reason. It looks very unsafe. When I went up there, not only the door was locked, but the door handle just rolled. You know what I mean? It just kept spinning, like there was. So I know you can still open it that way, but I'm pretty sure. Can I rule it out 100%? No, but I'm pretty sure there was no. There was no one messing with me there, and if they were, I think it would have been a different. The fact that Colin just wanted, as well, I find interesting, the fact that Colin just wanted to move on and it was me that wanted to go down there and find out what the noise was is also quite telling.
Okay.
I genuinely don't think Colin was messing around there. The only thing I can think of is perhaps a representative or someone who was working at Nevada State Prison might have done something. But I'll be perfectly honest, I've got no evidence to back that up. And I don't even really think that is the case. It was just something in the moment that crossed my mind, and I wanted to see if it was possible to gain entry from the other end of this, these prison cells. And I left that aside, thinking you can't gain entry that way.
This is Paranormal After Dark with the Roadie. I'm talking to the side-eye guy. We will return after this quick break with more discussion on haunted prisons. And here's a track from the band that does the theme song, or lent me the song to be the theme for this show, Sins of Eve out of Christchurch. This one with J9 on vocals. They've had a few vocalists over the years. Janine, I think her name was. And it's called Thin Ice.
Paranormal After Dark with the Roadie.
then we're back. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about, haunted prisons and that, and for me, looking at it as I've passed away and I'm on the other side, if I've been in a prison, do I really want to haunt a place like that? I mean, is that where I want to spend eternity, some place where I was bloody miserable? I just don't know, it's kind of... and the other thing that I struggle with is and this is something that you may think as well. For example, Derek Akora, let's use him as an example, okay? Someone who claimed to be a medium and all this sort of stuff, right? Passes away. So why isn't someone like that making all the effort they can to make contact with this side to just prove, hey, I was right all the time, you bunch of dickheads? We never get that, do we? We never get these psychics that pass away.
I find it very strange that psychics don't ever seem to try and contact other psychics. Unwritten rule, because if they can lie about anyone they want, obviously they can lie about other psychics, but for some reason they don't seem to do that. Which, I find strange. I also completely agree with you. I don't understand why anyone would ever want to haunt anywhere that is, you hear people say, oh, the basement of this hotel or whatever.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Wouldn't you want to haunt the bloody penthouse suite?
Yeah, it's like the old joke that Mackie and Manor make, isn't it? It's like they go, Disneyland is so haunted. And I'm like, oh, well, I suppose that makes sense.
I guess it gets back to the psychology thing a little bit and the, I suppose, the 20th century, 21st century horror film genre where it's always the basement where something's haunted, and so people have that in their mind.
Attics and basements are always the most haunted places because they're the most uncomfortable to be in. We don't like dark, dingy, musky smelling, cobweb infested, bug crawling spaces. We don't like it. So our minds play, and because we have that feeling, our minds tell us, get out of here. I'm hyper alert, I'm uncomfortable right now, and any little thing you could well interpret as being something that isn't really there.
You didn't go to the Conjuring house, did you?
Not this trip, I've been before.
What do you think about that Conjuring house and that whole Warren thing? Because one of the daughters is now coming out talking about saving the place and all this stuff. And I mean, it was thoroughly debunked. And now you've got one of the parent daughters coming out going,
I have been to the Conjuring, not on this trip. A couple. Yeah, so Andrea Perrin, there's a whole thing going on right now with Jason Hawes wanting to buy the house, and I think Sam and Colby just endorsed wanting Jason Hawes to buy the house, but I know Elton Castis and Matt Rife also want to buy the house. To be honest with you, it just keeps going and going and going. I don't even know anymore.
I smell a rat straight away when everyone wants to buy the place. It kind of just reeks of commercialism.
Yeah, I would like to see the place restored. I would like to see the money put into it because, I just like old things pretty much. I like old items, I like old houses, I like old cars. I think that's part of history is important, and it's important to the state of Rhode Island, and it's got a lot of history to it. There's a lot of bullshit with it as well, like an incredible amount of bullshit. I don't think it's haunted whatsoever. There's been so much bullshit with that place over since the 70s till today. It's overwhelming. But, I would still like whoever buys it, I just would like them to restore it for historical context, if nothing else.
The thing that stuns me about it is the amount of people online that still believe that story. It's just,
yeah.
I can't believe, and even believe in the Warrens. I mean, Jesus. I mean, this gets back to what I'm saying is, if they were truly these great bloody ghost hunters, they're both passed away. Why aren't they making contact from the other side?
Funny you should say that. That's exactly what Elton is making out is happening at the Warrens' house that he purchased not so long ago. That's exactly the storyline. Is that Ed and Lorraine Warren, their spirits are in their old house, and there's a supernatural battle going on between the spirits of Ed and Lorraine Warren and whatever evil and dark entities are also residing in the Warrens' house. That's exactly the plot line that Elton has come up with. I don't feel bad for the Warrens whatsoever.
Yep.
You know, as far as like their names being used in these sort of things, they very much have it coming. I don't even think they would care. I think they would probably like it if they were still alive, that, you know, lies like that are being told about them. The only thing that annoys me about it is the astronomical price that Elton and Matt are charging for total nonsense. Never been claimed to be haunted.
And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. People start commercialising this stuff, and you just think, really, I've been, and all the, you know, I've spent 30 plus years working in theatre, right, all around New Zealand, a couple of places in Australia, States. Every theatre's got a ghost, right? Supposedly every theatre's got a ghost. Yeah. Now, in all those years, and I'm not someone that's totally skeptical, doesn't believe or whatever. I've been in theatres 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, working, and I've said, okay, Frank or whatever your name is, if I know the ghost, if you're around, you know, tap one of the lights, knock it over, whatever. Nothing happens, and yet, the last place that I was in that was haunted here in Dunedin. 10 years I spent there as a technician. I used to say morning Frank, evening Frank when I came in, just as a, you know, thing to say, and I was never saw anything, never heard anything. But the amount of people who claimed, I actually had a person who arrived there just as I was doing my last show and retiring from the place, who claimed that they were sitting in the seats, and this Frank, who the backstory was he actually lived in the theatre was in an old house. He lived there. He legitimately was part of the theatre company. He was the caretaker. Died in the premises. Blah blah blah. So there's a backstory there, right? This woman, who'd never been in the place before, legitimately said to me that he manifested on the stage to her, and she saw him on the stage as a full-body apparition. And I would argue, how come you're so special when I spent 10 years in that place and never saw a bloody thing?
I mean, it's a very, very fair question. I also used to work in a theatre in London, and I used to work backstage there. I used to go underneath the stage. I used to go it was a bit of a labyrinth, those old theatres. You know, it was a pretty big one. And there was stories, you know, being told. Nothing ever happened. It was just, so like, you know, to the point where there was one I actually believed that apparently that people were saying that they used to store bodies in there during the Blitz, so victims of the Blitz. I'm sure your listeners know what the Blitz is, but the London bomb, the World War II raids from German aircraft used to just unleash bombs on London, and many people, civilians, women, children especially, died. And apparently their bodies were stored at this theatre that I used to work in. I looked that up not so long ago because I was thinking, oh, you know what? I still know some people that work there. Next time I'm in England, maybe I'll try and do an investigation in there. Couldn't find anything to back that up anywhere. It was just a story that was told to us while working there. Just like apparently someone hung themselves in the auditorium. I mean, that one sounded like nonsense. The Blitz, I was like, well, this makes sense. Yeah.
So the story I just said was legit. There was people in the theatre company still who knew this man, okay? So they knew him. Now this guy that knew him, who'd worked with him, he'd never manifested himself to this guy, but someone new to the place walks in and claims to see a full-bodied apparition, right? It's just, you know, I'm like, well, why would you show yourself to someone you don't know? But here's a guy that did, you know, half a dozen shows with you when you were still alive and when you were living in the place, and you don't show yourself. I just really struggle with some of this. Sometimes you just think, really? It's like the hotel you went to where the gunfighter allegedly appeared, and you challenged the gunfighter to a fight. Yeah, if I'm a gunfighter and I'm going to fight some mother, well, hey, if you challenge me, yeah, I'm going to show myself and I'm going to challenge you, right? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And again, I want to believe, but it's just so hard to when stuff like that goes on, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to admit, I started off skeptical in the paranormal. Now that I've been doing these investigations, the more I do them, the more I'm like, flat out non-believer. I like you, I want to be proven wrong, and I love it one day. But like the argument I'm hearing now is like I'm too close-minded for it. And I'm like, whenever I hear that argument, I'm like, you are literally proving my point. You're proving my theory on all of this. That is all in your head.
Yeah.
If you're saying you need to be so open-minded, like, tell me one other aspect of science where it only happens if you believe in it.
Well, that's it. That's exactly right. You did right. You could say, well, I don't believe in nuclear fission or fusion because so it doesn't happen. Well, it happens, doesn't
it? Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's I know what you mean. It's so it just frustrates me. And then you see these ones, and I know you were taking the piss, but the old bursts of static on the radio, people buy that. They buy it, and I'm like, really? I mean, seriously? You bloody. It's so obvious that it's, and they'll tell you the bullshit story about I've pulled an aerial out and it's scanning backwards. It makes no difference. When I was a kid, I had a shortwave radio. I used to scan backwards and forwards, right? And I still picked up broadcast stations whichever way I went. It didn't matter how you're scanning, and pulling the aerial out means nothing because there's a built-in antenna, and broadcast radio frequencies are all over the place, and yet people buy this thing that, oh, look, someone went, it's just, it's crazy that they still buy that stuff too.
Yeah, I don't get what my thing about the radio. It's pretty simple. I'm like, if the argument for a spirit box on the radio thing is just white noise, it's an opportunity for white noise to happen and voices come through. Why don't you just keep it on the one frequency?
Bingo.
Where it is just white noise. And the reason for it is literally nothing will ever come out of it ever. You are hoping to get a little glimpse, a radio station saying something for a second or two.
And that's the thing, is like it's technology, right? It's like these word banks on the phones. It's technology. So like you're going to places, for the most part, these people go to, that are haunted by people that allegedly didn't live in the time of the technology. Are you telling me that if you say touch that antenna, that someone from Elizabethan England is going to go, oh yes, an antenna, I think I'll go and touch the antenna? He doesn't know what an antenna is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or he doesn't know how to get on a radio. Well, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the other world you know all this sort of shit. But I mean, it just amazes me, Yeah.
We just kind of give a lot of leniencies for people in the other world. Like, I remember exploring with Josh and exploring with fighters, went over to Japan, and they were talking to ghosts in English, and they were getting responses in English. Brilliant.
I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was one of your videos or whatever, but I watched this debunking one. It might have been one of Beardo's. This buffoon, bald guy, I can't know what he is, an English guy. He's in some bloody alleged Viking cemetery in the middle of England, and he's calling out, right? And he's getting responses in English on a radio or on a device, and I'm sitting there going, wait on, you're calling out to people who lived in the times of Saxons. The Saxons didn't speak English as we know it. They spoke something else. These people spoke Norse. Are you telling me they understand your modern English and they're replying to you in modern English? I mean, it's like
spirit talker rap. And it comes up with like modern English.
So the spirit talkers, I challenged somebody, I can't remember who it was, online, and I said, okay, I would be impressed if you had one of these apps, right, where you actually loaded the app and you said, right, I'm in a Tudor mansion, and I'm going to tune this device on the app to Elizabethan English, right? So like the Universal Translator on Star Trek, where they talk into it and it allegedly, the alien talks in his language, but it comes out in English, right? Which we all know was a device for TV, so we didn't have to have a... But, okay, let's make an app that's a universal translator, so you go, I'm in an Elizabethan mansion, 16th century English, and then hold it out and say, okay, talk into this, and it'll translate from Elizabethan English into modern English for me. I haven't seen that yet, or German into English. I haven't seen that yet. What? Try that, and I might be impressed, right? But
I totally agree.
It's just So the whole thing, your whole trip in America, you kind of felt that there was nothing there.
No, not really.
No.
And some people get frustrated with that, but no. I'm pretty sure what I do is the definition of insanity, because I'm doing something knowing full well what the results are, but still hoping that something will change.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you might hit on it one day. Who knows? Maybe you hit on the mother lode.
I've heard it's almost like, echoes of the past kind of thing. I suppose, I mean, there's no evidence to back it up whatsoever, of course.
No.
I suppose I would be more willing to, I would say I'm more willing to give that, to give that the time of day over an intelligent sort of entity. If it's an echo, if it's just like something replaying, then that's what they call residual.
I don't know. I wonder what people think the other side is. I mean, do they think it's like literally they're sitting in their house in another dimension, in another time, and here you're coming through? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, like, the more, like I was saying, the more I do this, the more I'm just kind of at I've got the sort of the mindset that I don't think there's anything out there.
Wow.
Again, love to be proven wrong, but I just don't think. If I could end it on one quick thing, if anyone believes that they've seen something, all the rest of it, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If that belief, as long as that belief or what you think you saw, believe you saw, brings you some sort of excitement or comfort or anything like that, crack on. I don't want to take that away from you. All I would say is that some people think they see something and it brings them overwhelming fear. I think that's when you might need someone.
Indeed, my friend. All right, good to talk again, Sig, and hopefully, people have said to me, why do you get these debunkers on? Because they're willing to talk. If you're in an investigation team and you want to come on and talk and show me your evidence that you believe's evidence, as I say, I want to believe, get in touch. The Roadie at outlook.co.nz, or message me on the Facebook page of Rocket FM. I mean, I'm happy to have a chat. So, with that, this is Paranormal After Dark done for another week. I'll be back soon. Here's Sins of Eve with the full version of Creeping to Take It Out.
start to ask myself this. Are you prepared? Something's falling for you inside your head. Me, creeping up now, take you underneath ground.
Paranormal After Dark with the Roadie.